This week's Sunday sketch, I wasn't quite sure where I wanted to go. I did know that I want to continue with the Angel series. It's really been inspiring. And I love the swirling motion from last week, so I designed this swirling design with the figure and the wing, one wing going up and the other one coming down, and the figure itself kind of swirling as well in motion with it. But I decided instead to have the figure very stable inside and very centered and quiet, and have all the motion moving around it. And here I'm adding the initial colors, adding warms against the cools, and kind of got me inspired to think about elemental things like fire and water, and how I'd always wanted to express, well, spiritual things often are expressed in terms of those elemental things of fire and water. And here I thought, hey, it's an excellent opportunity. I have the flames coming up and the water flowing down, and so now I'm just adding a bunch of texture. And something else that inspired that was a brief talk I had with a friend this past week about how the spiritual impinges on the physical and how the two can interact and connect. And so I didn't want the drawing to be separate from the background. I wanted everything to flow together and through, for that texture to move throughout. And that's what I'm doing here, is adding more of the texture into the background and the colors, and the warms and the cools, and the flowing up and the flowing down, and the figure centered in the middle, with glow coming as much out of the figure as shining into it, and the negative space that emphasizes that upward looking gaze of the head, the outstretched arms. Those are all things that I wanted to emphasize, and the beautiful S curves of those wings of the flow going up and down. And now I'm just simply adding more texture. I think at this point also I started to understand that it needed more darks to so that the brights would glow more, to create more of a contrast, and get more of a glow out of the whole thing. And so, but the other thing that started to occur to me is that it was getting a little too textured, a little too choppy, especially in the background. That was distracting from the figure itself. And so here, eventually, coming up soon, I decided to blend those a little bit more to take away a bit of that choppiness. There we go, right there. And then it's more a matter now of adding detail, getting the flow of the water coming down, adding more oranges below as there are blues above, so as to create more of a balance to the piece overall. And so there I'm just doing some final touch-ups, realizing I hadn't hit the whole canvas, the bottom part, so filling in some details. And it seems there's always something you miss along the way, or something that needs fixing, so it's worth taking a last look and doing those last final touch-ups. Here's when I'm doing that, and there you have the piece, Fire and Water. The music in the background was Touch Your Breath by Masato Abe. Now I'm going to be doing these commentaries. If you want to hear more of them, you can go to patreon.com, and for a subscription of as little as $1 a month, you can hear all of my upcoming and past commentaries on these videos. Thank you for your support.